Hello and welcome to Conversations with My Younger Self. I am Rochelle Fosu, and with me I have Miss Lucy Bryce. Welcome, Lucy.
Hello, Rochelle.
Thanks for joining me again.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'm scared about what you're going to be asking me because I don't know what Lucy's asking me. So buckle up.
No, don't be scared. I think this is a fun topic. So, I just want to start off to say being a woman is like being a superhero. There's so many
Mm,
powers we have. So, I want to explore that topic of womanhood, right?
wow. Okay.
What does it mean to be a woman to you?
Ooh, that's deep. Well, it means being the center, the focal point, the kind of the glue is probably the best way I can think of describing it. So, today is a perfect example. I went from hair and makeup to taking my son to learn how to start teaching him how to drive to the recycle center and then here, right? So it's multitasking, it's being the glue, it's kind of keeping our families, our world, um, our corporations um, going in a way that makes it uh, human, really, because I think that women bring a unique softness, but at the same time, strength to everything we do that makes it look flawless a lot of the times with a lot of work put in. So I would say probably the sexy glue.
The sexy glue,
Yeah.
yes, not the Elmers, the
No,
sexy clear
sexy
glue.
glue. Yeah. A little bit of sprinkles in there.
There you go. There you go. The fancy glitter glue.
There you go.
There you go.
That's a good way. The glitter glue.
The glitter glue.
Yes.
I love how you say like we're the center, like we're what brings everyone together because when we look at the Bible, right?
Right.
There's Eve. She's the first woman we're introduced to, and
Right.
she's brought to be a helper. A lot of people try to make her seem like she's less than,
Right.
but she's not.
Right.
If there's one woman in the Bible that you could relate to
Oh.
and only pick one, who
Oh.
would she be?
Oh. That's interesting because I'm teaching a Bible study about women right now. Um, that's an interesting one. Wow. You got me stumped on that.
You want time to think? I can let you know what I
No.
think. Okay.
I think I would go with it's interesting because I just started studying Hagar
Okay.
and her earlier self I wouldn't necessarily associate with, but I think I like her because she kind of evolved into a relationship with God and ultimately became strong in that. And we don't hear a lot about her after.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really brief moment, but she goes from really not even being a Christian to naming God and being, I think, the only woman in the Bible to name God. And so that evolution, even though brief, is a huge evolution.
Yeah.
And she then surrenders to him and goes into a situation that she knows is going to be difficult after surrendering to him, trusting that he will care for her and he would be her protector and her coverer. So I think, and this is new, I'm sure there's other women that I probably would say too, but this is new now having learned about her.
Yeah.
And even though she has a very brief presence, I think the evolution of her I like a lot.
Gotcha. Okay. So you've definitely been through many seasons, just like Hagar. You've been through some
Yes.
seasons in your life. What's a season that there was another woman who helped pull you through or help you realize that there is a silver lining to it?
Oh wow. That's wow, the question she's giving me all. um so I would say the season there've been many. I would say the season when after losing Dom,
Okay.
there were several women and some were really subtle and others were more overt. And I would actually say maybe the whole 5 years after
Mm.
losing Dom, which is up to almost now. Um, it started with a lady in our church who, I hope I can say her name, Mabel Davis. I think I can. And she just sought me out one day when Dom was ill, and I would come with him to church with the whole family, try to make sure everybody looked good, and Dom felt good about himself. And Mother's Day came around, and she realized that Dom couldn't do much for me for Mother's Day. So she just walked up to me that Sunday and gave me a check for $50 and said, "Go do something for yourself."
Oh,
Now, she didn't really know me like that, right? She kind of was just observing us from afar. And that really stuck with me because she didn't know me. Like, it's not like I was one of those people in church who had been there for a very long time or people knew us. She just felt for me because of the situation I was in and put herself in my shoes and probably said, nobody's going to probably be doing something for her for Mother's Day, so I want to reach out and do that. And I thought that really stuck with me. And then since then, there have been women who have made a point of seeking me out and kind of helping me think through what the journey should be, what it should look like, what I'm deserving of, what giving me a lot of courage to go do some new things that were very different and not typically what would be expected professionally. So yeah, there've been about 3 or 4 women that I can think of, actually probably 3 of them from our church, who have really been like silent and present at the same time
yeah.
and at the right times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The right time is always
Hmm.
important. Yeah.
Yep.
So I love that story because like it really brings us to the fact of sisterhood, right?
Right.
Once we embrace being a woman,
Right.
we can put that together and then create a sisterhood, right?
Agreed.
So you like to talk about the power of collaboration,
Right.
right?
Right.
So how do you think we can improve collaboration? I think sometimes we have a little bit of an era of like, I can't help that person or I don't want to help that person. How do we change that mindset?
Yeah, I think that unfortunately for some women, and I think some of us may have been at that point at one point or another. So I'm not saying I'm exempt from it or that never happened to me, but I think that we as women, it comes from insecurity
Mm,
primarily. And, the world has told specifically Black women that, they're not, the vision of what beauty is. So there's that, that's changed obviously over time, but there's been, a lot of, when you find yourself in a community where there aren't as many men as there are women,
mhm.
there's a lot of competition around getting a mate. And so when a man maybe doesn't end up with you, you feel a little bit of insecurity about that because you're like, man, what did I not have? Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it becomes kind of a cumulative process of insecurity on a lot of different levels
Mm,
that they compound each other. And then it becomes a question of where is the outlet,
mm,
right? So if you have a person who has this cumulative, insecurity around beauty, around, maybe a spouse or a partner, around maybe going into the workforce and feeling like you have to do double or triple to kind of prove yourself. And this is women across the board, in that respect, or just having to balance all these things at home and maybe not feeling like you're valued anywhere. You kind of have that compound effect of insecurity because you're not being affirmed, right,
mhm.
in all these different dimensions, and you don't necessarily know or feel that you're succeeding.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, where is the outlet for that? And I think sometimes the outlet for that is against other women,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
so it's like, okay, who else, who else is there, right? Or who else can you blame for your feelings?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it becomes the other women. And so that obviously hinders collaboration because, there will be a woman who maybe has gone through really difficult times with domestic violence. And one would think that they would look out for other women going through domestic violence, but they may run from that in order to prove their strength,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And in so doing, actually alienate other women who could use their help.
Use that encouragement.
And that's not because they're, I think, intentionally doing that. I think it's because it's a coping mechanism from all the trauma and all of the compounded insecurities. And so it becomes first about working on being intentional about your personal, um, building your personal confidence, not because of what the world is telling you, but because of what's in your heart,
Mm.
right? And really saying, what's in my heart? Like, what does my heart do? What is like if God, obviously God knows our heart, but if he could lay it out on the table, right? What's in it? And if you can come to a point where you feel comfortable to show your heart, then by default, you will feel more confident about yourself and what you're bringing. And so it's easier to collaborate, right, with other women. So I think we are usually the main obstacle, but it's not because we just don't want to, or it's, I mean, on the surface, there's jealousy and all that sort of stuff. But beneath that, I think it's about just not having that self repair.
Yeah.
And so until we do the self repair or start on the journey to doing the self repair, you see other women as competition as opposed to collaboration. Because I mean, at the end of the day, collaborating with other women is not going to stop, what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
But because we see it as competition, we choose not to, and then we still don't do it anyway. So that makes sense. But I think that's the self repair part, the acknowledgement of all the hurt, the trauma, and the compounded insecurities, and really being honest with ourselves about what that's done to us and how we can address that is really critical to actually being able to then say we're going to collaborate.